I always enjoy doing these videos or anything related to my writing and creativity, actually. But some days I'm delighted. And today I'm very happy. Giddy might be an overstatement because I do still feel in control. I mean, there are some pleasurable experiences that my entire being is arrested and I'm in some sort of void and my emotions, my body, my mind, they all just they all just go for it. I mean, there's no mediation by me. This isn't quite that. But it's something very wonderful uh, anyway. And let me get started with these delightful little epiphanies. I actually just wrote these notes in my calendar. And the first one is actually like a re epiphany. It's something that I've always known that's always background music, but was very apparent yesterday. My friend suggested that I watch the movie Perfect Days, directed by Wim Wenders. Is it Wim Wenders, Wim Wenders, or Wim Wenders, or I have no idea. And it's a joint German-Japanese production. Beautiful film, beautiful film. A film that I truly identified with, and it's a gross oversimplification to say that it's about the art of ordinary life. But that is one of the things it's about. I mean, I will probably write something or talk more about the movie in detail at a later date, maybe even not too far from now. But the one impression that I want to give is that you follow this guy through very ordinary life. He works. He's got a very humble job, cleaning public toilets. He does it with excellence. He's got a nice life. He drives a little truck and he listens to cassette tapes of good music. Um, he reads before he goes to sleep at night. He's nice to, you know, screwed up people, little kids, young people, dogs, older people. He's not completely self-aware. I mean, in the movie, you see he becomes aware about things. He becomes aware about his nature with his relationship with his father, and I don't want to ruin it for you in terms of tell you some of just like life. It's very surprising. A couple things. First of all, the art of living, the art of ordinary life. And one thought that I had while I was watching the movie, I said, "This is a wonderful movie, and what's the point of it? What is the ultimate art form? The ultimate art form is life, living. What's the purpose of art? The purpose of art is to make both the maker of the art and the consumer of the art more human. That's what it's all about. So the ultimate art form is us." So one of the things that I like about doing these videos and talking to you is that here it is. It's me. I saw something else yesterday. I mean, yesterday. Oh, and here's another thing too in Perfect Days, which is exactly my experience of living. The world talks to him. His experience talks to him. His emotions talk to him, but also other people talk to him and his impressions and everything. The world is, Bill Clinton once said about his mother, He said, she reads life like a novel. And that's really, really true. I mean, that's my experience completely. I got all these answers yesterday because these little answers, these delightful little epiphanies. I got all these delightful little epiphanies just by being alive yesterday. So that that was very that was very informative to me. I mean, it happens with everybody. I'm older now, and I'm a much different person than I was at different points in my life, and I'm a better person. I just like I become a better writer. I would hope that I would become a better person. I mean, it seems that's what it's all about. I mean, I'm 69 years old. I better be a better person than I was when I was 29. I mean, hopefully you learn something not about being a human being and about your particular strain of humanity. I mean, we're all species unto ourselves, really. And we have a universality with all other people, and then we have a particular way that we express it. So that made me really happy about these videos because here I am. Here, look. Here's the person, as well as the writing. Here's the work of art for what it's worth. That's the first thing. Second little epiphany. I'm not going in the order that I heard them, but it's the order it comes into my mind. I've taken, especially during the election period, I I spent a lot of time looking at YouTube videos, mostly about the election, some about the Chicago Bears, some are little entertaining things that are interested me, or this morning, for example, Paula happened to come across that Loyola University, like many universities, was doing Brecht's play Arturo Ui. So we start looking for that. Then you start looking on YouTube, and it's an adventure. You come across all these different things. Well, one thing I came across was a video by Philip Glass. I think he was the musician, but it had, when you make a YouTube video, I type in a title for each of these videos, and when you access it, you see it before the video starts. You see what the title is. Well, it was some, I don't know what it was, a concerto, an etude. I don't know anything about Philip Glass or classical music or anything, but one thing that interested me is that there were no titles. I talked on an earlier video about Paula suggested maybe you want to put a chyron on there, or I watch these videos and they have different, shots within the shot, and you can have more production values. It's like one thing that happened to me yesterday is I looked at this little table. Well, it's not that little of a table. I looked at this table that's in my office here, and the microphone, and I got a light that Paula gave me that clips onto my laptop screen, and a lamp over here. I got a lamp shining on me, and I just discovered I have this pole lamp with 3 different bulbs on it that I turned on, and I got that light on. So I have more lighting than I would even think of. That shows, how dumb I am about such things. But seeing that Philip Glass video, the simplicity of it, it was the keyboard of a piano, and you could see the piano. It said Steinway, and then 2 hands playing the piano, and that's it. And I thought to myself, this is very artistic. I mean, I would wonder about production values. I mean, does this look amateurish? I mean, it's not amateurish. It's not arty either. It's artistic. This is it. It's me and the words and this room, which in a way, as simple as it is an expression of me. So that's it. So I was very I was very happy about that epiphany. What else did I have? I realized that I guess it was Thursday that I didn't do a video yesterday. So it was a day ago that I did a video. But I noticed that I always had in my mind this question is like, um, Paula and my friend in New York would say, you know, you're when you try a long form narrative, I mean, it's better writing or something. There's more there, and I know exactly why they have that impression because the stretches in my writing that are notes or just thinking they don't play like good writing. You know, they play like notes for me to go forward. Maybe a lot of I don't know if I'll know in a year or so whether this conversation it's not a conversation. This monologue, whatever it is, this talk, I don't know if some of it's going to play as like, oh, that was really good, and some is like sort of that I'm sort of feeling my way in the dark. Uh, but uh, but that's the way it goes. But I realized that, but I always had a feeling. I said, you know, these blog pieces, they seem as deep to me as the narratives. I mean, these essays or whatever. Well, I realized looking at them, you know, for example, it's not always a movie, but a lot of times it's a movie. I would do my stream of consciousness while watching movies pieces, and it was actually the narrative was provided by the movie. So the characters and the settings and everything was the thing that that my inner feeling alighted upon. And the idea that, you know, when you're working on a novel or long form manuscript or whatever, you keep going back over it and you keep rewriting it and you get a certain depth and the time element of of the novel, you know, it's like 300 pages instead of 5. So you know that time allows you to go deeper. Except when you look at the blog, that when you look at all my writing, blog or otherwise, for the last 11 years, when you look at all of them as a whole, there is definitely that time element. And you can see a greater depth and you can see a transformation in the writing. So I that kind of solved that question for me. It's like, no, the writing before the manuscripts was plenty deep. That was the thing that I didn't understand. Although I completely understood, and I think it was a very intelligent observation that I don't know how anybody would see it that way unless I framed it that way. So that was like a nice little epiphany to make me understand the development of my own work a little bit better. Um, another another thing that I thought was very interesting is I'm looking forward to watching an Alex Gibney documentary about David Chase and The Sopranos. David Chase, the creator of The Sopranos, which I think is still regarded by a lot of people. I can't say the greatest streaming series of all time. I haven't seen all the streaming series of all time, but it's the greatest. That's the greatest television show that I've ever seen. You know, and I recall that I saw a video of Mike Nichols, who, if anything, he had great taste. That I don't know if he mentioned The Sopranos directly, but he was talking about The Sopranos, And he was talking about the greatness of that form. Said that actors and writers, I mean, if they're working really seriously and doing good work, it really gets, it really gives them a chance to really, really do like incredible work because they're spending so much time on it, more than they would on a novel or a movie or something, you know. So when you get a very good or great, well, he was James Gandolfini, great actor. I don't know if he started out in that show as a great actor or if he started as a very good actor that was perfect for that part. But man, I don't know. Does any acting achievement compare to that? I don't know. I don't, and I love great acting. I just love it. You know, I think it's such a tremendous art form, and but he was sensational because he had that time. Let's add something that to the whole streaming thing, and I've been streaming. I mean, really streaming for at least several years of the blog, but even before streaming on TV, I've been streaming my life. It's not just only a stream of consciousness. I called those pieces my stream of consciousness while watching, I don't know, adaptation. No, that is not, that's not, I think the kids are playing outside in the room just beyond the office. I'm going to try to, bowl through when the going through the, God, it's really distracting, but that's fine. I love them. I love them. And an interesting thing. There's ordinary life. There's ordinary life outside. I mean, I'll be spending time with them later. The grandchildren, wonderful. I love them. I put the laundry in. Uh, you know, I had uh, I had breakfast and chatted with Paula. We have a ritual. She makes the coffee. I always bring her a second cup of coffee. I mean, it's very nice. I love it, and that's artistic. But to get back to David Chase, he said something very interesting, which was a step behind what Nichols realized in that streaming setup. It's like he left the he said the story never ends. The story never ends. And you know the famous last scene in The Sopranos, which was so controversial, where they're sitting in a diner and you have a sense that there might be danger coming, and then it just goes to black, and you don't know whether somebody's going to come in and kill them or kill one of them or what's going to happen. And he was really making a profound artistic point there, a really, really profound artistic point that the story doesn't end. So one of the things I've wrestled with is like, well, you know, oh, it's supposed to be a form, or again, my friend in New York, he said a very wise thing. I had a I have a manuscript, still has to be reworked, but a manuscript that basically using flashbacks too, but talks about my life from say like uh, age 34 to 50. And then I have a manuscript where it's called Improv Story, and I talk about improvisation in my life or whatever. And I suggested to him while I was working on those manuscripts, I said maybe I should just put this in the bigger manuscript. And he said, well, if you put in too much, then nothing means anything. He says it's stronger if it stands alone. It's stronger if it stands alone. I'm actually I agree with that, and I don't agree with that. I mean, I think this is the stream. Okay. What I've done with the blog, everything on the blog and everything on these videos. And when I put those manuscripts in here too, it's all one thing. It's a never ending story. But that idea of it's like, well, that's kind of too much. How do you get that piece out of it? Well, you'll watch this for whatever 30, 60 minutes, whatever this video is going to turn out to be. You watch this and you get that this is a single piece, just like a day is a single entity within the stretch of a life, but really a day's an abstraction. I mean, there's one story, and that's it. It's a story that started like millennia and millennia before I was born, basically. There's one story. So that's what I'm going to do. And something, not what I'm going to do, that's what I've been doing, but now I'm very happy with it. I mean, that's what this is. And when you start doing it, you realize this wasn't an epiphany yesterday, but there's stuff out there that's like this. The Sopranos hints at it. What ended that show? Well, they were tired. They had careers. They were going on to do other things, but the show really didn't end. And David Chase didn't end. What he was saying is the Sopranos, that story, you could go through all the iterations, the generations. He already had a generational thing in that thing. It could just keep going. There was no place like to tap it out. It's a never ending story, and the individual story, you're not really clear about anything. I'm never really completely clear about any person's life until the first thing that shows any clarity about any person's life in this never ending story of all of us is an obituary. I mean, that's when this individual, me, Rick Thomas, is going to cease to exist. But the beat goes on. So how does art express this? Now there's all sorts of hangups. This is corollary. Once you have these epiphanies, I started with the first video here. I was saying I didn't want to submit for publication, and I talked about that for an hour. I'm not going to talk about it now. But the thing that's ended is like, oh well, be a published writer or whatever. So that's serious or whatever. My conclusion is that that's not what's important. That's not what makes me a writer, or that's not what makes me an artist. And the blog and these videos and everything else that I do in this huge epic thing, the sweep of this thing, that's the art of it. So that was very, when I really realized that, I thought, boy, I have everything that I need. I mean, I had this feeling. I might have. I'm going to repeat this probably, but I might have said it earlier in a different context. I'm not sure, but I walked into the room. Yeah, I saw my microphone. I saw the lights. I saw my laptop, and I got this joyful feeling. I got this feeling of like I'm home. Like this is exactly what I want to do. I can do everything that I want to do right at this table. And then, you worry about, getting it out to people. That was a big hang up of mine. Like, how am I going to distribute it or whatever? You just put it out there. People don't, that's not something to worry about. You put it out there. And I knew this on one level many years ago when I taught improv classes. Of course, this was completely against the grain of the people who were taking the classes. I don't think there was one of them that really saw life this way. But I would say, your audience finds you. It's just like in life. Everything that's important to me uh, is everything that's important to me is came to me. You don't have to try. Well, you know what? Um, we're at a little over 25 minutes, and I could go back to the manuscript and keep reading. Let's see if I get an answer to this question I have in my head. Then I'm not sure if I want to do it or not. I was thinking that the next thing I wanted to do here is that the improv story manuscript, to read that, which would take several videos. Uh, in my mind, I think of it. I have some sort of impression that it might be the best thing that I've written so far, but that doesn't mean that it is. And that would be something to find out. But I'm not exactly ready to go to that. So maybe between now and the next time I do a video, I'll decide whether I want to keep going to the Nashville blog essays that I wrote when we first got here, um, or go to the improv story manuscript that I wrote a couple months ago, or maybe the first manuscript with the terrible title "Luck of Ricky Tommaso." But I don't know. I'm not sure. So you know, so we'll leave on that. It's like the book of life will tell me what to do. Um, okay. And I thought I was going to watch a movie, 2046, that was suggested by my friend. I'm looking forward to watching that movie. I know I'm going to finish the laundry, but I think it's time to go play with those kids. So uh, that's what I'll do. All right. So I'll see you next time.